You woke up this morning, alarm, shower, coffee, the same mug you always use, the same route to work you always take. 23 minutes door to door, give or take. But here's the thing, you don't remember the drive. You never do. Your hand moved the steering wheel. Your foot found the brake at every red light. You signaled, you merged, you parked. But you weren't there, not really. Some other part of you was driving the conscious you. You were somewhere else entirely, thinking about a meeting, replaying an argument from 3 days ago, wondering what's for dinner. When was the last time you felt truly awake? Not caffeinated, not busy, not distracted, awake. Present here. There's a study from Harvard that found something deeply unsettling. The average person spends 47% of their waking hours mind wandering. Nearly half of your life, your mind isn't where your body is. You're biologically here, but experientially, you're nowhere at all. So let me ask you something. What if the difference between being alive and being dead isn't your heartbeat? What if it's whether you're actually present for any of it? What if you've been dead for years and simply haven't noticed?
Nice.
This isn't a new fear. Humanity has been terrified of this particular kind of death for millennia. And maybe they were right to be. The ancient Egyptians had a word for it, ka. Your ka was your life force, the animating essence that made you more than just meat and bones. And here's what kept them up at night. They believed you could lose your ka while your heart still beat. Your body could walk and talk and breathe, but the part of you that made you, you could simply leave. You'd be a shell, alive but not living. They weren't the only ones obsessed with this terror. 2,400 years ago, Plato told a story about prisoners chained in a cave, forced to stare at a wall their entire lives. Shadows danced on that wall, cast by a fire behind them. And those prisoners, they thought the shadows were reality. They lived their whole lives, never seeing the sun, never touching real objects, never experiencing anything true. Were they alive? Technically, yes. But had they ever truly lived? Are they alive if they've never seen the sun? Buddhism took this idea even further. They called it samsara, the wheel of unconscious suffering. Most people, they argued, aren't really living. They're reacting. Stimulus, response. Stimulus, response. Mechanical, automatic. Trapped in patterns they never chose. Driven by desires they never questioned. To them, ordinary human existence wasn't life. It was a kind of sleep, a walking death. And then there are the philosophical zombies, the P-zombies. It's a thought experiment that asks, what if there were beings that looked exactly like conscious humans, acted exactly like conscious humans, but had absolutely no inner experience, no awareness, no sensation, just programming running on autopilot? From the outside, you couldn't tell the difference. Here's the disturbing part. How would they know? How would you? René Descartes tried to solve this problem with his famous declaration, I think, therefore I am. The proof of your existence, he argued, is that you're conscious enough to question it. But what if you're not really thinking?
What if you're just processing?
Running scripts, following patterns laid down years ago? The Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard had a term for this state. He called it shut-upness. People who are shut up in their routines. Sealed inside lives they never consciously chose. Living in what Thoreau would later call quiet desperation. Going through the motions. Checking the boxes. Breathing, but not alive. But these philosophers were asking why this death in life happens. To understand that, we need to look inside the human mind itself. Your brain is running a screensaver while you're still in the room. That's not a metaphor. That's neuroscience. There's a network in your brain called the default mode network, the DMN. When you're doing routine tasks you've done 1,000 times before, your DMN takes over. It's an efficiency feature. Your brain realizes that docentine needs your full conscious attention to brush your teeth or drive to work or answer your emails. So it powers down the expensive, energy-intensive parts of consciousness and runs on autopilot. The terrifying thing? You don't notice. The lights are off, but the car is still moving. This is called automaticity, and it's everywhere. Every habit you have, every routine you've established, is essentially your brain turning off another piece of your conscious experience to save energy. When everything is familiar, nothing requires your presence. You stop seeing your own home. You stop tasting your regular coffee. Your brain files it under known and stops bothering to inform you about it. It gets worse. Modern life fragments your attention into pieces so small, you can't form a continuous conscious experience even if you wanted to. You're not having a day. You're having 500 disconnected 3-minute segments. Check your phone, answer a message, start a task, get interrupted, start another task, check your phone again. The average person now has an attention span of 8 seconds. 8 seconds. That's less than a goldfish. And here's what that means. You can be present for an experience that never lasts long enough to register as an experience. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman identified 2 selves inside you. The experiencing self, the one that lives in the present moment, and the remembering self, the one that stores and recalls those moments later. Modern life has essentially murdered the experiencing self. We live only for memories we plan to have, for Instagram posts we haven't made yet. You're not at the concert. You're filming the concert for someone who will never watch the footage. You're not experiencing your life. You're creating evidence that you were there. There's a clinical term for what happens when this goes too far: depersonalization and derealization. It's when you feel detached from yourself or reality. Like you're watching the world through glass, like you're an actor in your own life. And here's the thing, mild versions of this are nearly universal now. You know that feeling where you're talking to someone and you can see your mouth moving and hear words coming out? But some part of you is watching from very far away, wondering who's speaking? That's supposed to be rare. It's not anymore. By Wednesday, you're not choosing your life anymore. You're reciting it. Decision fatigue, ego depletion, an exhausted mind simply stops making conscious choices and defaults to scripts written years ago. What to eat, what to wear, what to say, what to think. It's all been decided. You're just playing the recording. And even when something good happens, the hedonic treadmill kicks in. Any pleasure, any positive experience quickly becomes your new baseline. It fades into background noise. Pleasure doesn't wake you up. It just becomes the new normal, the new thing you don't notice. Your brain has handed you over to the efficiency experts. You've been optimized right out of your own life. Welcome to the simulation. Netflix knows what you'll watch before you do. Amazon suggests the product before you search. Spotify cues your next song before you finish the current one. Your next thought is already scheduled. You think you're making choices, but you're not. You're confirming predictions. Algorithms have studied you, learned you, and now they're playing you like a script. You're not making choices. You're approving suggestions. Social media has become your memory. If you didn't post it, did you even experience it? But here's the paradox. If you did post it, did you experience it then either? Studies show that taking photos actually impairs memory formation. You were so busy capturing the moment for later that you weren't there for it when it happened. Instagram stories, Facebook timelines, Snapchat streaks, they're not memory aids. They're memory replacements. And once you outsource your experience to a platform, you stop processing lived reality at all. Then there's the productivity cult, hustle culture, optimization obsession. Every moment must be justified. Every hour must produce. Rest is rebranded as recovery so it can be instrumentalized. Hobbies are now side hustles. You're not a person with a to-do list. You're a to-do list that happens to be alive. Pure presence, just existing. Just being has been reclassified as wasted time. And then came the pandemic. Groundhog Day made real. For millions of people, external variety simply vanished. Home became office. Weekdays became indistinguishable from weekends. Days collapsed into an indistinguishable mass. Many people reported feeling like they lost entire years. But here's the question. Were you alive in 2020? Or did 2020 just happen to you while you waited for life to start again? The architecture of modern existence has eliminated what sociologists call third places, spaces that aren't home or work, cafes, parks, churches, community centers, town squares, the places where you could just be unscheduled and unscripted, where spontaneous human presence could occur. Now, you go from home box to car box to work box to screen box, repeat until dead. Most of your life is now mediated through screens, relationships through text, nature through documentaries, meaning through content. You're not living life, you're streaming it. And here's the cruelest part. You know you're asleep. You've read the articles, you've watched the videos, you've promised yourself you'll change, but you can't figure out how to wake up. Because you're so busy evaluating whether your life is good enough that you forget to be alive in it. Constant comparison keeps your consciousness locked in judgment mode rather than experience mode. You're not present, you're grading. So here we are, biologically alive, technically conscious, but existentially. What? Here's the paradox that might save you. The very fact that you're asking, am I already dead, is evidence that you're not. A corpse doesn't wonder if it's dead, but a sleeping person can dream they're awake. So which are you? There's no app for this, no life hack, no productivity system that will solve existential absence. You can't schedule presence in your calendar. You can't optimize your way into being alive. Every self-help guru who promises you 5 steps to mindfulness is selling you another script, another routine, another way to avoid the uncomfortable truth. Waking up hurts. Being present means feeling everything. The anxiety, the loneliness, the mortality. Autopilot is comfortable, safe. It's numb. Consciousness, real consciousness, is raw and overwhelming and exhausting. That's why we choose the simulation. Not because we don't know better, because we do. But maybe being alive is nothing more than the sum of moments you were actually there for. Not the big moments, not the Instagram moments, the small ones. The breath you actually felt, coffee you actually tasted. The eye contact with the stranger that reminded you that other people are real. Nietzsche once posed a thought experiment he called the eternal return. Imagine, he said, that you had to live your exact life again. Every moment, every choice, every day, infinitely, over and over forever. Would you change anything? Here's the better question. Would you want to repeat today? Could you even remember today enough to repeat it? So let me ask you again. What if you're already dead and don't know it? And more importantly, what if tomorrow you wake up and realize you've been dead for years?
How much longer are you willing to wait before you start living?
Picture someone in their morning routine. Alarm, shower, coffee, the same mug, the same route, but this time, they stop. They notice the weight of the mug. They taste the coffee. They see the sky. Not because it's special, because they're there. Maybe that's all being alive ever was. The moment you stop and realize you could have been.